Hi, I'm Jason, your Gen X host.
This is Derek, your millennial host.
And I'm James, your Gen Z host.
Welcome to Generations Unveiled. Okay, so there there are a lot of things going on in the news today. Whether it be the war in Iran, are we going to continue bombing? Are we going to be putting troops on the ground anytime soon? There is the gas prices because of the war in Iran going up. Though the United States only gets maybe 1% of its total oil from there, our prices go up because they're tied globally to the market. There was, oh God, so many different things. Israel bombing Syria, us bombing Syria. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Still, there's more like James Comey. Um, he he's being subpoenaed by the government. There's obviously for some this scandal with Trump collusion and Russia gate, and then um we have things all types of different things going on. People they're like wanting to throw their who's going to be the next president. And they keep on talking about AOC or Gavin Newsom and all these other things. However, here in Ohio, we had just recently a crazy, crazy week where we
Yes.
had we had temperatures near 80 degrees and sunny, which was beautiful.
More
But then,
like more like we experienced every weather phenomenon within a week.
basically, then we had right there near temperatures near 10 degrees and snow. Along with that, we had hurricanes. Okay, not hurricanes, I'm sorry, tornadoes. We don't have hurricanes here, we have
Tornado.
tornadoes. Exactly, tornadoes. So we had sun, we had freezing temperatures, we had tornadoes, we had snow. We had a
We had a
we had a
meteor.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, we had a meteor that exploded in the skies over Ohio and rained little meteorites down to the ground.
Not even just that, it exploded right over the top of Cleveland. Right over it.
Uh, okay, so yeah, so this is some crazy stuff. Okay, so and here's something for your nature watchers. There was a rare bird sighting, and I don't remember what the bird was, but it was 1,200 miles away from where its natural living habitat was. Okay, I mean these are
How'd you hear
crazy
about
stuff.
this?
This is all
This was
crazy
found in
stuff.
Ohio?
Yes,
What
so
the f-
far so far this is all things, and we're not done yet because we
It's
didn't
like a
have.
national geological switch or some shit going on.
Yeah, like I said, there's some crazy stuff. Okay, now one more thing here. One more thing. We didn't have one sighting. Okay, one, but we had six. We had six Bigfoot sightings. Okay, all in under a week. All of this happened 1 week right here in Ohio. Talk about some
Apparently there's
crazy stuff
been
going on in
more
the world.
going on.
Exactly. Talk about some crazy stuff going on. And if you could possibly guess what we're going to talk about today, what would it be? Any guesses, anybody? Bueller.
We're going to talk about that sage thrasher. That was the rare bird. I had to look
That-
it up real quick.
okay. So, what do you think we're going to talk about the what the hell was that thing again?
A sage
A sage
thrasher.
thrasher? I've never even heard of that bird before. But over 1,200 miles away from its natural habitat in Ohio. That's pretty wild. But I would say wrong. That's not the one. Could it be? Let me guess. The weather? Anybody? Weather? No, no, it's not going to be the weather.
No.
It's not going to be the weather. I know. It's going to be the meteorite, right? Right? No, no, no. However, there is a combination or not a combination. I would say correlation here with the meteor, possibly with the subject we are going to talk about, which is Sasquatch, or what is it? The hairy ape or man, or hairy ape man, or whatever you want to call it. The bigamum foot. So
Oh, Ohio Grassman.
Ohio grassman.
That's another one.
So, yeah. So I looked up a little bit. I've heard about Bigfoot. Oh my god, since I was a kid. I don't know about you guys, but since I was little, I've heard, and I even knew people that would go on Bigfoot hunts. They go out camping looking for Bigfoot. I've never known anybody to see one or to have a sighting. Though, to my amazement, I found out that there has been over 330 Bigfoot sightings here in Ohio. I was like, really?
Yep.
I did not know that. That's kind of wild to me. I mean, I've heard about them. I've just never seen them. So what do you guys know about this?
Well, I know that he's invading my town. Because what do you call it? Sightings have been ranging from areas in like Portage County, Trumbull, which is where I reside, Warren. Uh, there's quite a few counties that the sightings have been where the sightings have happened, but relatively in this general space. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot of state parks, a lot of state forests. We have a lot of protected land. Um, and Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the top 5 states with the highest reported Bigfoot sightings. And as I was looking at the data, um, I'm gonna see if I can pull it back up on my phone, but it tends to follow a trend where I think it started in Portage County is typically where the first sightings are
Mhm.
that get reported, and then it tracks like downwards. Like it starts in Portage and then it moves, and then you're getting additional reports from surrounding counties.
hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So I found that it was, I guess, 8 people saw him. 8 people in a short span of time, and not a single video, not a single picture.
I
Now,
think there was a video,
uh,
but
where is
I
it?
was trying to find it earlier because I had seen it and I could not find it. However, I did
Amazing.
find another video of Bigfoot. This doesn't take place here in Ohio. However, probably some of the most eerie piece of footage I think I've ever seen of Sasquatch. But then again, it is a video, so I can't say for certain that it's real. But the first few minutes that you watch there, you're gonna see a clip of a trail cam from a guy in Alaska who caught something on his trail cam, and now he's scared shitless, and he wants to know what the fuck he caught.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I mean, if you ever notice, it's always it's always not always, but a lot of times it's like dark or dusk when people say they see Sasquatch. Um, when they have these encounters, uh, and then you do have a few. Of course, the only ones that you get video of, they're never really at night. They're normally during the day, and they're very very far off. And it just
Right.
seems to be that the people with the crappiest cameras just so happen to be the ones taking the video, because you never get any clear
Right.
video. Nowadays,
That's the crazy part about this footage is that it's no by no means a good camera, but at the same time, you can clearly tell that ain't a man that's standing there. Way too tall, way too burly.
The whole video evidence and pictures and stuff, it always reminds me of a joke Mitch Hedberg does, where he said, "Man, what if all the pictures of Bigfoot is blurry because he is blurry himself, which is way more terrifying to think that there's a blurry, unfocused man ape running around."
And that could be part of the phenomenon. Um, because there's a lot of, oh my God, so many conspiracy theories around this. It's not even funny. Um, like one of the conspiracy theories with this is that Bigfoot is more of an alien or an interdimensional being, and that's why you'll find that along with like Bigfoot sightings, there's sightings of bright lights and orbs, unidentified flying objects that go along with some of these sightings. And
Really?
so there's yeah, you'll there's all types of yeah, that's just one of the theories is that
I've
he's
never
interdimensional.
seen all the Bigfoot sightings and the photos or videos. I've never seen that. Never have I ever seen anything that
No, you won't. You won't
would
see him because
relate
it's
it to
because they didn't have him on video.
aliens. I don't think that's
That
I
is
don't
one
know.
of the
I
theories.
wouldn't
You have to look at it. You have to look it up. That's one of the theories is that he's an interdimensional being. And that's the
I
reason why,
don't
this meteorite came flying overhead and blew up in our skies. It's because it has something to do with um something astronomical. Just throwing that out there.
Just throwing it out there. Yeah, I mean, I spent 16 years in northwestern Pennsylvania, and then I've been back down here in Ohio for about another 6, almost 7 years. I believe Bigfoot is is real. I do. I say that not even jokingly, but when you think of like how big the world is, and you think of how
Mhm.
big these state forests are, and you think of how little things have really been like, yeah, we may have an aerial view or we may understand the scope or the immensity of it, but how many people have been in there day in, day out, right? Not a lot. There's a reason that these places are isolated and stuff. So for me to think that there could be something of this size and magnitude that's still to this point unproven or undiscovered fully,
It's
I would
possible.
say that falls under plausible.
I mean,
S-
think about this for a second. So, just last year, right? I want to say it was in either Cuba or Cambodia. I don't remember which one. I know it started with a C, but one of these two places, we just found out that there is a river that can sit there and change colors over time with some of the clearest water in the world. And we didn't know about this till 2025 because of how bad that fucking
Interesting.
country was. No one could go there and like just roam around the forest because you had the possibility of just being shot going there.
Probably Cambodia. That would sound about right. I don't know about Cuba because
Well,
Cuba's a little bit different.
what do you call it? This
Because we're
river,
we're
it's
we're we're actually on the island of Cuba.
but
That's where
what do you
Guantanamo
call it?
Bay is.
How people discovered this river though was this reporter. He went in. I want to say it was a reporter. Don't quote me on that. Went into Cambodia in search of this river, and he took photos and videos of it. And oh my god, here I'll send you some photos. But this is crazy. It's like, how have we not known about this?
I'm definitely interested to see those photos. And uh, Jason, I don't know if you had broached this topic with with Lori or not, but um, a couple of her brothers claim that they had a Bigfoot encounter.
Really, I did not know. She knew we were going to talk about this. She didn't say that. So interesting. I'll have to ask her about that one. Maybe revisit the subject. We have a tendency to talk about some
Uh,
weird shit here.
We
was
do.
not Cambodia. It was Colombia.
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 Eh,
Okay.
Colombia. It is called the Cano Cristals. And
interesting.
holy crap, does this shit look amazing. It is one of the most beautiful rivers I've ever seen. Trying to find a good photo of it.
Okay. Well, as Derek was saying, the possibility of us not knowing exactly what this thing is and that we haven't quite discovered it, or maybe we kind of have, but we, how can I say, we believe that it was extinct for a while. So there's this theory that these could possibly be the was it Gigantopithecus, um, which is basically like a prehistoric ape. It was the largest ape ever in South Asia, and it's possible that that they are real, and that this is a descendant of them. And some people may say, well, how would they get here to North America if they were from Asia? Well, back in the day, there used to be a land bridge between Russia and Alaska. That was a land bridge. It wasn't actually covered in water at one point in time. It was considered that that was a land bridge, and animals used to migrate back and forth from one continent basically to the other. Technically, that'd be considered one continent, but from one end of the world to the other, they would migrate. And is it possible that some stayed in the areas of the woodlands over here, and they just didn't thrive like other animals did? Well, possibly. So it is a possible, because they it is believed that if this is a real species, that the possibility of maybe 3,000 of them total is still around. How often do you think you might see one? This land is huge. Okay. How often you say,
Right.
actually, I mean, just like Derek saying, we have a vast amount of forest. So the possibility of seeing one with only being 3,000 of them, be like a 1 in a million shot to see it. So is that possible? Eh,
Yeah.
Possible. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, I would say it is. And then just because we always tend to go off on crazy conspiracy theories and things like that.
There's
So
another one.
I read a lot of Dean Koontz. So there we had talked on a previous discussion about cloning, right?
Mm,
And we were talking about like they were trying to bring back a woolly mammoth and a saber-toothed tiger, and it was just like, why why are we gonna reintroduce these apex predators? Like they died out probably for a reason, like
yep.
but so is it also possible that if this is the species that you had said that even originated in Southeast Asia, that we have found, you know, remnants of it that we were able to pull DNA off of, and that maybe this was cloned in a lab and escaped because they always talk about Bigfoot being like so big and so
Yeah.
oh, we thought we had it covered, and then like not wanting to reveal like, oh yeah, we grew this in a lab and now it's just out in the woods, good luck.
And there you have it. You have the government cloning theory, um, which I haven't heard of a theory saying that that it was cloned and something like that. This would be a first. So you heard it here first, folks. The Bigfoot, it was a clone of
Hmm.
Gigantopithecus ape from South Asia that we released in the wild or escaped into the wild, and that's why you see them. However, the only problem to that theory is all the Native Americans or the Native Indians, um, the people who roamed this earth at that particular time. All these tribes have some form of story about a giant, hairy ape man. So this has been going on for over 400 years. We say 400 years only because that is how far back it's been documented, you know, that we have documentation for, I guess, is we've been documenting Bigfoot for about 400 years now. But the native tribes of the world have this crazy ape story where a big hairy ass man, anywhere between the smallest being 6 foot, tallest being like 12 foot, um, has been seen. So you would think that the smaller ones are probably the younger, still growing versions, because this is not going to be just one Bigfoot or one Sasquatch or one whatever they called them um, at that particular point in time. They had various names. So, but yeah, that's so. However, did we find one, and that maybe that's how it got here? Like maybe this gigantus typithis ape, was cloned here in the United States, and that's why we see them around here. Um, that's a possibility. Anything else on this subject? Anybody else got a theory of why we see them?
I don't.
Has anybody seen, or has anybody knows anybody that's seen anybody personally? I don't.
Nope.
So
So,
my uncles, they tell a story about like, so they all northwestern Pennsylvania hunters. They go out and they tell a story about they were out on a hunting trip, and I don't know where it was, but they were at a cabin, and then during the early hours in the morning, right, they would get up and they would walk miles and miles from the cabin, like to get set up for the day to wait to see what they saw, see what kind of game they could get. And they tell a story about not that they actually seen it, but just like almost like a hooting, but
mm,
not an owl, right? It wasn't an owl, and the pitch and the variation changed, and
mm,
you could hear things moving around, but it was outside of what the campfire, had lit. Um, and I don't recall offhand if they saw any prints or like any evidence of it. But I do know that a couple of them are convinced that it was, yeah, indeed Bigfoot, while they were out hunting.
Well, speaking of prints, that video I sent you guys here in the group chat, it's like an hour long, but the guy who originally set up that trail cam and caught the supposed Bigfoot, he went out there towards that trail cam to go check on it and whatnot, and he found footprints more than twice the size of his own.
well, they say there's like a
So it's
size
one of those things. It's
14
like
inch, 16 inch, or something like
how
that. It's big.
I mean, like if we were gonna go off of shoe size, this shoe size would have been like at least a size 20, 25. somewhere in between those numbers. It was a big fucking foot.
Literally.
Hence the name. Hence the name. Actually, that was the
Well, you don't realize it till you actually put a human foot beside what could be an actual print. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck is gonna make a print that big?
something that's that big.
Exactly.
Yeah, to go off of the prints and stuff like that. If you go to any of the websites, matter of fact, there is a website you can go to. It's the BFRO. I believe it's bfro.com website, and but it'll tell you all about Bigfoot sightings. Give you a lot of history on on that. And give you it'll show you all different types of stuff, and prints and videos, and the ones that are the most common that you've already seen. And they'll talk about a little bit about the prints, and lead you to other places that can show you some. But there are people that do talk about the prints themselves, and how you could tell whether what they think are real and what they believe are fake. Because you could tell by how the print was made, and then how it, and the contour of the foot per se. So, but yeah, all that stuff you can look up easily online, get all the information. It's very knowledgeable. You got, and these people, they got PhDs, and they're Bigfoot. They consider themselves scientists. I Yeah, that's I mean, like I said, I mean, is it possible this is just some creature that we don't have documented? It's possible, yes. Um, yeah, it's like one of those things. We'll see. Only time can tell. It hasn't happened in my lifetime that we found one, because that's the one thing we don't. As far as we know, we don't have DNA, hair samples. We don't have um any bones, any, like, we haven't found any of that kind of stuff. A body, not that we would, with only 3,000 of them possibly being alive, but you would still think, maybe somewhere around there we might. I mean, if we can find a Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil, why can't we find one of these? Especially if they're alive, right? And you would think,
Right.
at least you would think. But like I said, you go to the BFRO website, and it'll give you a little more history and whatnot on on Bigfoot. Other than that, that's all I got. I mean, I went through a lot of video, the history. I'm not looking to get into. I don't know about you guys, getting in that far into the details of the people, because really, if someone wants to know really more about Bigfoot, go look it up. There's documentaries. There's so many documentaries out there about Bigfoot. It's not even funny.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me just look at the show Finding Bigfoot.
There you go.
Yep.
I mean, you could, and there's groups out there even today that go Bigfoot hunting. And there is a
Go on
chapter here in
YouTube.
Ohio. There's a chapter here in Ohio that does that. Why? I'm pretty sure they're out there now. They can't wait for the weather to break. We're going to go hunt Bigfoot.
I don't even think they care about the weather. I mean, you watch Finding Bigfoot, these motherfuckers are out here in blizzard territory looking for this sumbitch, okay? They don't care.
Yeah, probably.
They will search for this Bigfoot in any condition. They are some crazy people. That's crazy, all right? Search for what you want to search for, but like, fuck you if you think you're gonna find me in that kind of weather.
I get it. People do crazy stuff. We all do.
One of the things I love about being in Ohio is around here locally, there's all kinds of Bigfoot statues, carvings, stores that, you
Sure.
Yeah.
just drive by and just all of a sudden in someone's front yard, they're just a 12-foot wood carved
Bigfoot.
likeness of Bigfoot. Just
Yep.
Yep.
okay.
Yep. The
I mean,
shadow
you just
cutout.
drive around in the drive around out in the fucking country a little bit. You'll probably come across one or two stores that has a Bigfoot thing outside their store. Typically, is some sort of like hunting type of store or antique. Don't know why it's the antiques as well, but they for some reason are the ones that have them. I guess Bigfoot really likes antiques. Ah.
He's going thrifting. That's why we always see him. He's just on his way to go thrifting.
That's what he's doing.
That's
Uh,
hilarious.
I
That's
feel
so
like when we
funny.
actually finally find a Bigfoot's cave, it's not gonna be what we expected. It's gonna have a 1980s fucking little umbrella lamp in there. Like, where the hell did this come from?
uh,
Yeah, you come
sure.
across you come across a Bigfoot lair in the wild, and you're like, "Oh, some hobo has been out here collecting knickknacks from the stick." There's a shag carpet and one of those couches that you can just smell the cigarette smoke on from the 80s. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's the same print. Everyone's grandparents have
Just
them.
have one. Yeah. He probably has a has a bunch of those little cardboard cutouts of people. Got that in the front yard.
Weirdos living up in this cave.
Just so it has to be Sasquatch.
Next thing you know, you're sitting there looking around. All you hear behind you is.
Now, the one last thing, I don't think we talked about it because I just now thought about it myself, but this ties into a way darker thing, and I don't want to go into the dark thing, but in the areas where Bigfoot's typically seen, there are usually pretty close to um I'm trying to think of the right way to word it, tunnel systems, right? That have
Mm,
been partially, fully, or only, you know, just found but not fully examined. And that's where a lot of abductions and like if you look at disappearances and things like that, a lot of it correlates with tunnel systems, which is a big thing. But I know, especially around here in Ohio, we do have tunnel systems. We do have natural formations and things that aren't fully explored. So, could it make sense that, that we can see them at times when they're out of there, but we can't track them? Maybe they live underground.
Maybe.
yeah,
I mean,
If
hey,
there's
they're
just
a
think about
antique.
it
possibility.
like this: we know more about space than we do our own fucking planet. So take that with a grain of salt.
I mean, we could go into a whole tunnel theory because there's a lot more that goes into that. Um,
It's a big one.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's a subject for another day because that pulls out a lot of things. That goes back
If we're gonna
once
go
again.
into a subject like that, then we're gonna go. Then we should probably talk about a subject like the flat Earth. But I don't agree with flat Earth. All right, I never have, never will. Uh, However, the hollow Earth theory is something that very much could be plausible, and
Okay,
that's something I'd like to look into. Because
Yeah.
where
What's that?
where
That
you've got the flat Earth theory, which I'm sorry, but it's just not scientifically provable in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if we were on a flat disc, why are all the trees still standing straight up? Would not be happening. Not only that, if there was this firmament and the space was water, the aurora, the aurora lights, the aurora borealis that we all know and love would never be fucking possible. Would never fucking happen. You know why? Because you need sun, radiation, and something to reflect.
Okay, folks, I think we found our next subject for next time.
We did. We did.
So, okay, so to close this subject out, is there anybody else? Do you have anything to on Bigfoot you guys wanted to talk about? Anything that you had a question on, or because I don't, I'm all out myself.
Not really. I mean, the only thing I can say is that we have become so addicted to devices and living inside that when you do get outside and you start paying attention more to what's going around, you start to really see some things that, you know, isn't common, right? Like whether it be in the sky, right? Which is why only like it could some like an event in the sky could happen over a very populated area, and you might only have a fraction of that population see it and observe it, and then out of that fraction, only some of them got it on camera or has any kind of proof. And I think the same kind of goes with just being outside and with Bigfoot and things like that. I think that if we spent more time, again, getting back out into nature and just observing, that we would probably have so many more reported sightings.
Probably, probably. You know, because we do have a tendency to spend a lot of time inside. Well, in Ohio, we really don't have that much of a choice unless you like cold freaking weather. Okay, it's about 6 months out of the year, it's cold, and I prefer warmer weather, like today. Today's actually a nice day out. So
Yep.
Yeah, it's 75 today.
ah,
Pretty much all the snow melted.
yeah, about time again. Well, I should say again because the last time we got this one, but tomorrow's different. Tomorrow's only going to be in the high of like 35. So we're right back to that near 80 degrees, low of 10. Just looking for the next tornado to come by, and maybe we'll have more Sasquatch sightings. You never know. We're in Ohio. The hell. Well, with that being said, was there anything anybody had as far as a off the topic from the topic?
Nope. I'm
No,
good this time around.
you good?
Yeah, I think I'm good. Sorry, I just paused for a second there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, I would call this one a wrap, and we'll see you next time. Hasta la vista.
All right.
Bye bye.
See you.